If you're thinking about buying in the mountains of Colorado, the truth is that every part of Summit County has a different lifestyle. Whether you're looking for a ski in, ski out, vacation getaway, a second home in the mountains, or an affordable mountain base, there's plenty of options. So in today's video, we are going to take a map tour of Summit County, kind of highlight each of the different areas, talk about the pros and cons and what you need to expect when purchasing a home in Summit County, Denver's closest ski mountain resort community. Okay, so let's talk about our first area here. This is Summit County right here. So you can kind of get an idea of what Summit County looks like. And so Blue River, Breckenridge, all the way up to about Heaney. Primarily, we're gonna focus on this smaller area here of kind of the main area of Summit County. And that would be Breckenridge, Silverthorne, Frisco, Keystone, Dillon, and Copper Mountain. The rest of Summit County is mostly protected space, so we won't worry about that for this video. So let's talk about proximity to Denver here. So you can see Denver just over to the right here. Basically, you take I-70 going west, and then about an hour and a half from Denver, depending on traffic, you are right in Summit County. The first area we're going to talk about is Breckenridge with an elevation of 9,600 feet, about an hour and 45 away from Denver. And so what's great about Breckenridge is the town of Breckenridge itself. And so we'll zoom in here and head down Main Street to kind of get an idea of what Breckenridge really looks like. So if we hop onto Main Street here, you can see it's got a very cool Western mining charm, Victorian commercial businesses. Basically everything on Main Street is commercial businesses. And so you've got tons of shops, restaurants, things to do, places to eat. If you have kids, downstairs at Eric's, located right here at the corner of Main Street and Ski Hill. This is a great spot because we've got some arcade. We've got an arcade downstairs for the kids to hang out. If you're looking to buy real estate, obviously we've got my office of Liv Sotheby's International Realty right here. And my name is Anthony Soul. I sell real estate here in the mountains. So if you guys are ready to buy something, stop by the office or give me a shout, comment below, text me, call me, I'll pick up the phone and we can talk. So Breckenridge basically has a couple of different areas in which you can invest in. You've kind of got this area on the east side of town, which is basically the historic district, mostly around this area here. That historic district has tons of old cabins that you can invest in, not at a cheap price, but these single family homes range from 2 to 3.5 million. The point of the historic district is that it keeps or preserves the old time aesthetic of the home. So you're not really allowed to change the aesthetic of the home to preserve the history, which is really cool. Interior of the home, obviously you can kind of do what you want. And then from there, we go to the west side of town towards the Breckenridge Ski Resort. And that is all of this area right here. These are basically condos, ski in, ski out, townhomes, a few single family homes, some of the nicer single family homes, including the luxury neighborhood of Shock Hill, Christie Heights, Boulder Ridge, among others. This is kind of the nicest real estate in all of Breckenridge. And then we've got south of Breckenridge going towards the little town of Blue River. And this is where you can find some more affordable real estate. Generally in this south area here, more expensive single family homes, 2.5 to 3 million. And then as you go into Blue River, you can find single family homes in the $2 million price point. And then to further show you how awesome living in Breckenridge is, so this is Main Street, and I showed you before a little bit north or south Main Street. This is North Main Street right here. So come to the corner and come down Watson Avenue here, and just off of Main Street, pretty short distance away, we've got the transfer station and we have got the gondola over here. I'm sure you can see that in the background. So what's great about that is that you have a multitude of different options for buses. So you've got the Summit Stage, which is right here, and that'll take you all around Summit County. You've got buses that are run by Vail. Those will take you up to the ski resort. And then there's the Breck Free Ride as well, which will take you basically all around the town of Breckenridge. One of my favorite things to do, actually, this stop right here where you can see these people. There's one specific bus where you can load up your bike take the bus up to the top of the east side of the valley, and then you can bike all the way down back to this transfer station. Basically, it's like a free bike park. Super cool if you're into that kind of thing. But you can see the convenience here is fantastic. Gondola just a block off of Main Street, plus this transfer station that'll take you all over the county, as well as skier drop off here and tons of parking. You can see the ski resort in the background there. Just in front of us here, we're going to have some brand new development going on underneath this gondola. The last new development in Breckenridge. Keep your eye out for that. Feel free to message me. I can give you all the details. Townhomes ranging from 3,000 to 5,000 square feet, $4 to $6 million, but prime location, brand new construction, pretty tough to find in Breckenridge, which is fantastic. Now, some pros about Breckenridge. Obviously, you've got the ski resort, which has a little over 3,000 acres of skiable terrain, and you can ski right to downtown. So it's a great spot in terms of convenience. If you like to go on vacation and basically have everything taken care of for you, the bus will take you to the base of the resort, or you can walk to one of the many chairlifts on the west side of town. And there's shops and restaurants all over Breckenridge. Breckenridge is kind of the brand name for Summit County. When people from Denver go skiing, usually the first place that they stop is Breckenridge or Keystone, both located in Summit County. So it's really just such a convenient spot to go, especially if you're a bachelor or a bachelorette and you're just looking for ultimate convenience or hang out with the friends, or even if you got a family with you. I mean, it's so family friendly with the ski resort and the epitome of things to do. There's so many cool things about Breckenridge. I mean, I personally love the town. When I'm going out for a bite to eat, I live in Silverthorne, about 25 minutes away, but typically I'll go to Breckenridge for the better food options because they just absolutely knock it out of the park. Places like Rootstock, Radicato, Blue River Bistro, Breckenridge Distillery, Orem. I mean, there's so many good options. And if you want to do some boutique shopping for the ladies out there, or guys, if you're looking for some fly fishing gear, mountain biking gear, Breckenridge basically has it all in terms of a vacation spot. And there is a ton of different options in terms of investment opportunity, from small studio and one-bedroom condos in the $500,000 to $700,000 price point, all the way up to mega mansions in the $10 to $15 million price point and beyond. Another huge pro about Breckenridge is that you can actually get a short-term rental license in Breckenridge still. When the ordinance was imposed in 2021, they basically divvied up the town into different zones. I can't really show you on the map here what that all looks like, but basically if you are on this west side of town closer to the ski resort here, most of this stuff can be rented here. There's a small area that cannot be rented, and then kind of the rest of Breckenridge, you technically can get a short-term rental license, but we're so above the license cap that we're probably not going to be able to get a rental license in this lifetime. And I'm not joking about that. I think we're about 900 properties over that short-term rental cap. So the pro is that you can get a short-term rental license. The con is that there's not a ton of licenses available. And so if you're looking at a home maybe outside of town, like say you want to be towards the Highlands by the Breckenridge Golf Course, right? So here we got the Breckenridge Golf Club. We've got some of the most beautiful single-family homes with incredible views of the mountains, but you can't get a short-term rental license if you wanted to invest here and maybe offset a little bit of that income. But generally speaking, if you're spending $4 to $6 million for a house, you're not really looking to short-term rent something like that. You're looking to park your cash in luxury real estate and build a legacy for the family, a lifestyle choice, or maybe the market's down, the stock market, and you're just looking to park your cash into luxury real estate, because luxury real estate always holds strong in a market downturn. So definitely some things to know about Breck. About the only other con that I can say for Breckenridge when it comes from a local's perspective is that it is a very tourist heavy town. So when it comes to parking downtown Breckenridge, it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Sometimes in busy ski season, busy summer season, holidays, it can feel like a small city with the traffic and the nuisance of everybody going in and out and all over the place and people walking around. I jokingly call Main Street a minefield because you'll be driving downtown and all of a sudden people will just walk across the street without looking, without using crosswalks. So you got to go real slow. But those are pretty much the only cons that you'll find in Breckenridge. Now let's go north of Breckenridge into Frisco. Now, Frisco is basically this area here from the top of I-70 to the base of Mount Royal, and then right around this area of the Frisco Adventure Park. And so that's basically your Frisco area. Right here is your downtown Main Street residential Frisco area. You've got the Reserve at Frisco over here, which offers some great single family home options in an HOA that basically has been formed to preserve the natural beauty of the area. So absolute incredible homes with great lots, great open space. So it feels very private and exclusive. The only con about the Reserve, I would say, is your proximity to I-70. So you definitely will get some highway noise. So if you decide to buy a house, look for something that's well sealed, well insulated, thicker windows, so you don't have to hear that noise. Unfortunately, living in Summit County, I-70 is very close, so you're gonna hear highway noise. And then besides that, we've got the commercial business district along Highway 9 right here. And this is basically all of your day-to-day shopping. You've got Walmart, Safeway, Whole Foods, Christie's Sports, Napa Auto Parts, things of that nature can be found there in Frisco. Now, first let's go to downtown Frisco and see what it has to offer. And so the coolest thing about Frisco, as you can see from this map, is that we've got Mount Royal right there. I mean, that's Mount Royal, and we've got Mount Wichita, we've got Mount Victoria, and Peak 1 of the 10-mile mountain range. And so it feels like Switzerland when you're in Frisco. Coloradans refer to Frisco as the Main Street to the Rockies. And you can see why, because when you're on Main Street, just kind of perusing along, as you get closer to the west side of Main Street, this mountain is just absolutely incredible. And so you get insane views from Main Street. And then you can see we've got tons of shops and restaurants and different things. Uptown on Main, right on the center of the screen here. This is one of my favorite go-to spots. They have the only rooftop patio in Frisco, so it's a great spot to go grab a beer and check out the views of Mount Royal. You've got the visitor center right here. You got Rebel Sports right here to rent a bike, or they will shuttle you to the top of Vail Pass, which is great if you're looking to avoid the pedaling and just go downhill and bike with family and friends. Definitely something that I would consider doing. So Frisco Main Street is such a great little spot. What's cooler about Frisco is that it's a little less busy than Breck. Doesn't have as many options. So yeah, you'll have the tourism, but it won't be nearly as crowded as Breckenridge. And the main reason for that really is that when we're looking at Frisco, there is no ski resort here in Frisco. Locals will climb up to the top of Peak 1 and they'll ski down. I wouldn't recommend that unless you have a guide or you know what you're doing, have backcountry experience, avalanche training, things of that nature. But what's great about Frisco, again, is that you don't have that ski resort, so you don't get that tourism traffic. The other cool thing about Frisco is that it is centrally located in the county. As you can see, Frisco being right here, and then you've got the entirety of Summit County kind of around it. So getting to any of the ski resorts that we have here, being in Frisco is going to be your best bet to get to all of it. You are about 10 minutes to Copper Mountain, you're about 15 to 20 minutes to Keystone, you're about 10 minutes to Breckenridge, and then you're about another 20 minutes to Loveland and Arapahoe Basin. So you got great options and great centrality in Frisco, and why I think it's one of the best places to live in Summit County. One of the cons about Frisco, though, I will say, when you're here in Frisco, the big thing that I've noticed over the years is that the sun will set behind the mountains here, and so your sunsets could be a little bit earlier than you'd like. Another thing to note is that the wind comes out of this 10-mile canyon right here. This 10-mile canyon, that road is I-70, that'll take you to Copper, but the wind comes from the west through that canyon, and then sometimes it can get really windy here in Frisco. Minor things, weather's a part of living in the mountains, but it's just something that you should know if you decide that you want to live here. you guys are really getting the full-on tour. I'm giving you all the secrets, something that most salespeople are just not going to tell you because they just want to sell you something. I'm trying to provide as much value as I possibly can so you make the right decision when it comes to buying something. Okay, so let's talk about the homes that are offered here in Frisco. If we're looking at the south side of Main Street, basically everything along the base of Mount Royal, you've got a good mix of single-family townhomes, duplexes, and condos, all ranging from about $500,000 all the way up to about $3 million. And then you have, so just a little bit outside of town, going south on Highway 9, we have got Waterdance right here, which is some of the only homes that have direct access to the lake in Summit County. And then we've got some local neighborhoods here in Bill's Ranch. There's some deed restricted stuff there as well. A really cool thing about being in Frisco is that you have the Frisco Bay Marina right here. Not sure if we can drop the guy down here to see what it looks like. Oh yeah, we totally can. How awesome is that? So when you come to the Frisco Marina, we've got a restaurant right here. The name is skipping my head right now, but you've got this great little restaurant with a little rooftop patio there so you can get some drinks and hang out. And then Frisco underwent a $2 million project to basically convert this area here into a beach. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a beach right there in which you can wade and swim, take kayaks, fish. The 10 Mile Creek comes out right around this area here, so it's great fly fishing for those of you who are into fly fishing. Also, you can rent pontoon boats or sailboats, take guides out with you to go fishing or just hang out and float around. So the Frisco Marina is a really cool offering, something that Breckenridge certainly doesn't have, and that's great if you're planning to live, just outside of town. And then finally, we've got the Reserve here, and the Reserve again, $2 to $3 million, $4 million homes. There is one listing over $6 million, but that one's sitting on a pretty good amount of acreage. You've got the Walter Byron Park right here, which is a great little spot to bring family and friends, have a little picnic for the day, play some volleyball, all different kinds of things. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what you've got in Frisco. Besides those areas of Frisco, some other things to note, we do have a little bit of residential real estate right here along the beginning of Dillon Dam Road and closer to the lake here. And what's great about here is that we are located very close to the lake. Let me get that out of there. So these properties that are all located around Lake Point Drive here, this green path is the Summit County Recreation Path that'll take you to Breckenridge, take you over to Silverthorne and Keystone, or you could take it up to Copper all the way to Vail and beyond. So that is a great little thing about Frisco. If you decide you want some lake views, you want to be close to the bike path, you have got all of that. And then the famous Frisco Peninsula Recreation Area is fantastic. One of my favorite places to mountain bike, especially earlier in the season, as the snow starts to melt earlier there than up on the mountains. A lot of cross-country trails, a mix of different things, but it's some great pedaling, especially for novices who aren't acclimated to the altitude. This is a great little spot to ride your bike. And as well, in the wintertime, the Frisco Nordic Center has a bunch of groomed trails around there. And you got the Frisco Adventure Park, which is awesome. They've got a bike park, a skate park. Let's see if we can drop this guy right here. And so we get an idea. There's a little pavilion right here. You can see the skate park right here. It's the nicest skate park in all of Summit County. And you can see off in the distance, we have got the bike park with jumps and trails and all different types of things to progress your skills, if that's something that you're into. So again, Frisco is easily one of the coolest towns in Summit County. Now we head north towards Silverthorne and Dillon. Silverthorne and Dillon are basically one and the same, but what's great about Silverthorne and Dillon is I live here. And so I'm joking, obviously, but a lot of locals tend to live in Silverthorne because it has everything that you need convenience-wise from a local perspective. So if you're planning to spend an extended period of time here, I would recommend looking at Silverthorne. And you can even see my little home icon right here. I'm in the Ptarmigan neighborhood, one of the coolest neighborhoods, by the way. There are some homes for sale, immaculate views of the mountains. You actually get some land, quote unquote, usually about 2/3 of an acre all the way up to 2 acres here in Ptarmigan, and the HOA was originally formed to stop developers from coming in and overdeveloping. We kind of just have like a voluntary HOA now that you don't have to belong to, but no developers are coming in here and ruining this beautiful space, which is awesome. So some of the great things about Silverthorne, will take you more or less downtown, because Silverthorne doesn't really have a downtown. What we have is the main Blue River Parkway that takes you through Silverthorne. So if we're going east here, that'll take us up to Dillon, and then going west, this is the first light in Silverthorne. And so what's great about Silverthorne, it has all of your day-to-day shopping that you would normally do if you were back home. So we've got the outlets right here. And so some things you can see here, Calvin Klein, I go for all of my professional clothing. You've got Crocs right there, Le Creuset if you need some kitchenware. There's tons of outlet stores, I think about 40 or so, all different stores with all different variety. So you can do a lot of your main shopping, which is awesome. And then just down the street, we go a little bit here, another store that I frequent very often, and I'm sure a lot of you homeowners do as well. We have got Lowe's right here. So how cool is that? If you need to do a project or whatever, having Lowe's right down the street is epic. If you're in Breckenridge and you need something like a Lowe's, the closest thing you have is the Breckenridge Building Center, and they charge an arm and a leg for a lot of their stuff. They're really, really good. But if you just want to save some money and have a wider variety of options, Lowe's is right here, Murdoch's down the street as well. You can see some homes up on the hillside there. So we'll talk about some of the homes that Silverthorne has. This area just west of Silverthorne, this is Wilderness. And so Wilderness is kind of where a majority of the locals live. You have two areas of Wilderness. You have Mesa Cortina, which is this area here, mostly single family homes. And then just south of Mesa Cortina along Ryan Gulch Road, we have got all of the condos, townhomes, and duplexes, a small amount of single family homes. This is the most affordable real estate that you'll find in all of Summit County. You can find 2 to 3 bedroom condos under $1 million, if you could believe that. The problem that we have found with Wilderness, unfortunately, is insurance. And so the reason for that is because there was a major fire back in 2017 or 2018. And as the insurance company started to reevaluate, they basically hiked up insurance policies. So a lot of these HOAs are kind of out of control, $800 to $1,000 a month for some of the cheapest real estate in the county. And a lot of that has to do with insurance, unfortunately. So it is definitely something to be aware of. Yes, you'll get a cheaper entry point from the price, but unfortunately you will have to pay higher HOAs for those insurance things. And so what's great about Silverthorne Wilderness in general is that you have access to the Gore Mountain Range, Buffalo Mountain here, Red Peak, Mount Silverthorne, miles and miles and miles of exploring to do. If you like to backpack, if you like to hike, this is such a great area. No mountain biking allowed, unfortunately, but if you're a hiker, if you love views, some of the most epic views that you will ever see in your entire life, I'm not kidding you. One of our favorite hikes to do, it's a really good day hike, or you could do it as a backpacking trip. It's called Eccles Pass. It's just on the backside of Buffalo Mountain. So you could start either in the Willow Creek neighborhood and walk up that way, or you could start over in Frisco and take it that way. Either way, it's about an 11-mile hike. Some of the most incredible wildflowers, incredible views, absolutely amazing. If you want to live in Silverthorne and want some great hiking, I would highly recommend it. Other areas of Silverthorne to talk about, we did talk about Ptarmigan, which is off to the right here. And then this is kind of Silverthorne's, you could say, downtown area. And this kind of went up recently. So if you talk to any local that's been here for 40, 50 years, Silverthorne was commonly referred to as the armpit of Summit County because there was just nothing going on. It's basically a drive-through town, and that's basically all there was. It was like a gas station and a steakhouse, and that's about it. Nobody really cared about Silverthorne, but as you can see, we've had tons of development going on. Let's talk about it a little bit. So we've got the Hotel Indigo right here, as well as the Bluebird Market Hall. And so here's the Mint Steakhouse that I was talking about, the oldest steakhouse in Summit County. I think the oldest steakhouse in Colorado, actually. And then you've got this Bluebird Market Hall right here, which is basically a cafeteria style hall with tons of different food offerings. So it's great for families and friends. Everybody has different palates or whatever. And then you've got like what they call the town center here in Silverthorne. There's a fly fishing shop, Red Buffalo Mountain Coffee, which is where my wife and I, we can walk down to Red Buffalo. It takes us about 15 minutes or so with the dog. You've got Sauce on the Blue, which is the best Italian restaurant in Silverthorne, a local liquor, Locals Liquor, that's the name of that liquor shop. And then just off to the right here, this isn't the most updated picture. Currently, where this parking garage is, there is an entirely new development going on just in front of this. It's a part of the 4th Street Crossing development, so all of these units here are residential units. The same developer went and started building on this side, and basically there's going to be a whole nother like town center here. This parking structure, that like tall building that you're seeing right there, that's actually going to be a rock climbing wall, if you can believe that. An outdoor 60-foot rock climbing wall. Actually might be able to get a good view of it from here. So that's gonna be crazy, like something Silverthorne's never seen. So the idea of Silverthorne is that it's up and coming. There's a lot of new development, especially if you're a fly fisherman. One of the coolest things about Silverthorne as we start to go down, oh, by the way, Theater Silco right here. If you're looking for a great show, Theater Silco is amazing. It's part of a Broadway's Actors Guild or Union or something like that. Basically, aspiring Broadway actors come here and put on incredible shows. There's locals nights, by the way, so you can get a cheaper price, but obviously you're gonna have to buy a place to be considered a local, which I'm gonna help you with. But anyway, so we're gonna go down. You can see the river off to the right side here. So as we go down Blue River Parkway, we've got a couple of different home offerings here. So the Summit Blue townhomes, these are like the newest townhomes right on the river. You get access to the river, which is really great. A lot of the condos going down Blue River Parkway have private fishing rights, which means you have access to a portion of the river that the public does not have access to. And so right in front of us, this is the Opry Shores development. Again, not an updated picture of this building, which I believe is building A. And then there's a middle building, building E, that is currently being framed in right now. And then again, all of these units as well. Everybody's got private fishing rights. So that's super cool. So many things that are offered in Silverthorne. I'd say one of the only cons about Silverthorne really is that it doesn't have like a dedicated downtown or main street, and it doesn't have a ski resort. So if you're looking to ski, you're going to be driving to Keystone, Copper, Breckenridge, A-Basin, and so on. And so some of the home offerings prices, you're looking at 1-bedroom condos, again, 300 to 400,000, and then single family homes that go all the way up to 5, 6, and 7 million dollars, just depending on the area. There's a lot of cool little different neighborhoods in Silverthorne, from local spots to Ptarmigan to deed restricted in this Smith Ranch neighborhood right here. As I zoom in, if you were looking to get into Smith Ranch, it's very tough. It's a deed restricted thing. It's a lottery system. I could go on and on about it, but it's very tough to do. And then you go north towards the Raven Golf Course. And so these are the nicest homes in Silverthorne, all sitting on smaller lots, but beautiful big Colorado mansions with tons of amenities, again, being right near the golf course, which is fantastic. And just across the highway, we've got Hamilton Creek and Angler Mountain, more new development homes. Homes have sold up in the $6 million price range on this side. And the reason is, and hopefully we can see it if we come down here, the views are absolutely insane. So this home specifically, I believe, sold for about 5.5 to 6 million. But man, think about living here and that is your view. That is, like, to me, one of the prettiest, if not the prettiest, mountain range in Colorado, and only an hour and a half from Denver. I mean, ugh. So all of these homes right here, smaller single family homes, townhomes and duplexes as you go further down, and then some beautiful custom homes up here with the most incredible views that you have ever seen. And so from Silverthorne, we go over to Dillon. Dillon, very similar to Silverthorne. They don't really have a town center per se, but some of the coolest things that Dillon has to offer is access to Lake Dillon with the Dillon Marina. So again, if you want to rent a pontoon boat or a sailboat or take your kayaks out or something like that, you can certainly do so. So besides the marina, Dillon does have the amphitheater right here. The amphitheater is incredible. Let's see if we can get a little peek from here. Oh yes, perfect. So this is the amphitheater right here. We've got some bigger names coming to the amphitheater. We had Alison Krauss, we had Dirty Heads, we had a couple of really decently big names, kind of B-list, some A-list even. And what's great is that it's a small venue. They only let a couple thousand people in, and then you can see from here, in my opinion, the most beautiful music venue in the entire world. Red Rocks has nothing on this because when you're sitting on that lawn looking at the amphitheater and then you're looking out towards the mountains, I mean, this is just one of the coolest things. And so that is kind of the highlight of Dillon. So the biggest con of Dillon is that, again, no real like downtown area. So as you head towards what they would call downtown, there's, you know, Pug Ryan's Brewery. That's really about it. They have the Dillon Farmers Markets every Friday, which is really nice, but come in the winter time, there's really not a whole lot going on in Dillon, unfortunately. They are talking with a developer right now to try and see if they can work out some sustainable option for the future, but nothing's really happening on that front. He keeps getting shut down, so Dillon's future is kind of up in the air right now, but I think it might be a great investment opportunities, because if this developer ends up developing some new places, then it's going to really be an awesome place to hang out. They're currently, if we go down Lake Dillon Drive right here, so this development right here previously was called Uptown 240. It went bankrupt, whole thing. And so now a new developer has taken over this project, and they're supposed to tear this down and break ground on a new development called the Waterview Residences. So if it's something that you're looking for, again, I think this is the best investment opportunity in Summit County right now. And then if we head down the street here, this is where the farmers markets happen, just in this parking lot right here, kind of wrapping around Dillon Town Park. And every Friday morning from 9 to 2, if you have a chance, go check out the guy who sells salmon and latkes. His name is escaping me right now, but man, the Dillon's farmers market is awesome. Get all of your produce, get your breads, get your snacks, get your crafts, super cool. And then you have the Dillon Town Park right here, which has so much to offer for kids, from a turf, a baseball field, to rock climbing, and then there's pickleball and tennis courts, and then you've got some great condos, most of it in the town of Dillon, which you can consider as this area right here. Mostly condos, a little bit of single family homes over on Buffalo and Three Rivers Street. And those prices range anywhere from about $700,000 up to about $2 million, depending on the style of condo that you're looking for. And you can get a short-term rental license in Dillon. Didn't talk about it before, but Silverthorne, you can get a short-term rental license also. Frisco, currently restricted, unfortunately. And then it just depends where you are in Dillon. Down here in Straight Creek, Dillon Valley area, no licenses are available, but there are a bunch of condos kind of lining the highway here. Let me make that a little bit clearer for you. So all of these are condos lining the highway, cheapest condos in all of Summit County, which is fantastic. And then you've got some single family homes, as well as the Dillon Valley Elementary School, which is a bilingual elementary school. Most of them are here in Summit County, which is great. Your kids are going to be speaking English and Spanish, which I think they should be in today's world, especially as we've got a ton of Spanish immigrants here in the county, which is awesome. And yeah, that's basically everything you have in Dillon as well. Can't forget to mention that we have City Market here, which is our King Soopers. If you're familiar with the brand, that is where you can do basically your main shopping. Guys, there's so much to talk about, and I've run on so long here, and I could just keep going, but we're gonna have to skip that for another video, and we can talk about the next area, which is Keystone. First, I'll mention Summit Cove, which is technically part of Dillon as well. This is basically where most of the locals live, besides Wilderness and some areas in Breckenridge, Silverthorne, etc. So a lot of locals live here in Summit Cove, but as you get farther south, Keystone Ranch and the golf course, some of the nicest homes you'll see in all of Keystone. Okay, finally, Keystone. I did just mention the Keystone Ranch. There are some amazing single family homes looking right at the golf course, ranging from 2.5 all the way up to about $6 million, depending on your style. Questionable on if some of those are overpriced or not, but either way, if you love to golf, Keystone Ranch Golf Course and the River Golf Course are fantastic, and the homes here are amazing. Being in the ranch is great because HOA restricts short-term rentals, and the Keystone Ranch restaurant is one of my favorite in Summit County for an upscale meal. So if you're a golfer, definitely consider Keystone Ranch. And then from there, we'll look at the rest of Keystone. This area here is basically Keystone, mostly condos, townhomes, and duplexes, a small amount of single family homes along West Keystone Road here, but the majority of Keystone is condos. It's basically developed as a short-term rental area to accommodate people coming from Denver. And so Keystone is unrestricted when it comes to short-term rentals, which makes it a real pro and a great investment opportunity. So let's talk about downtown Keystone, or the River Run Village. So we are now, I don't think we can walk much more than this, but this gives you an idea of the River Run Village at Keystone. You've got Keystone Sports right here to rent your bikes in the summer, skis in the winter. You've got a crepe shop and cookie shop just over in this area. And then as you head down this corridor here, you can get to the gondola at Keystone. There's also a brand new development going at the base of the gondola, the most luxurious ski and ski out residence in all of Colorado right now, called Kindred, and it's fantastic. You've got some amazing condos there with an amazing conference center. We're gonna have a Michelin star restaurant, owners club, spa, gym, so many different amenities. If you want more information, definitely reach out to me. But this is basically your downtown Keystone area with a few shops and restaurants. You can see in the summertime, they have different festivals, so I'll set up a stage here with music. In the wintertime, it's always buzzing with people to go skiing, and just commonly referred to as the most family-friendly ski resort in all of Colorado. I would say the only con about Keystone, it's that it really doesn't have a town, so there's not a lot of shopping to be had. There's a couple of restaurants and a couple of places to eat, but that's really it. If you're looking to do grocery shopping, go to Lowe's, go to Target, things like that, you're gonna be driving about 15-20 minutes outside of town to get to where you have to go. So Keystone is a great vacation spot. If you're looking to just get away from it all and just have your privacy, that's where Keystone is at. And one of the coolest things about Keystone I've noticed in between our ski and summer season, our mud season as it's commonly referred to, Keystone is kind of quiet and peaceful. You've got the beautiful Snake River running through town. And so it just is such a beautiful, peaceful little area to hang out in. Let's talk about the homes and the prices here. I told you mostly condos and townhomes. You can get anything ranging from about $700,000 for a studio one bed all the way up to about $6 million for a single family home. And then you can even go up Settlers Creek and up Montezuma Road into the small town of Montezuma. Not a ton of offerings over there. Kind of like a ghost town, you could say, with a population of about 50 people, I think. So some cheaper real estate, but it's much higher elevation, so it has snow almost year round. Okay guys, wow, that was so in depth. There's so much to talk about, so many things to drive by and look at. But man, I think I've given you guys a pretty good overview of what you can expect here in Summit County. I can obviously get into way more detail. So if you're looking to make a purchase out here in Summit County, we can sit on Zoom and go through this together so I can kind of show you firsthand what it's like. Or when you're out here in town, give me a buzz and we can go for a little driving tour. I love driving around Summit County and showing out-of-towners what it's all about. And obviously, if you're looking to buy a home here, now is the time, guys. We just bumped up inventory so heavy in the last few weeks, up 25% in inventory, with a lot of it just kind of sitting. So there hasn't been a better time in the last 5 years to start negotiating for a deal. I think this is going to be your best opportunity to buy some real estate in the mountains. Again, guys, my name is Anthony Soul with Live Sotheby's International Realty. Thank you for watching this video. Reach out to me anytime, any questions that you have, especially if you want to buy or sell real estate in Summit County, and I'll see you guys in next week's video.